A little over 3 years ago, I published a YouTube video named Roller Shade Repair for Grand Design. That video, to this point, has received 39,700 and something views. A little over 1,000 views a month. Tells me across the board there are a lot of problems with these shades. I've received several comments, several thank yous along the way. If you are just now working on dealing with roller shade repair, I would suggest you go back and take a look at that video. For this video, I am years later coming back and working with the same shade again. And it's not that it took that long for it to go wrong. It's just that I was so frustrated with it that I hadn't touched it. Now I'm getting ready to sell the Imagine, and I want everything to be right in it, so I'm gonna fix this shade. Several things have changed during this time. Back 3 years ago, I was able to go to Irvine Shade and Door and order the springs for these, and if best I can recall, they shipped me two of them, two different sizes, and they were free. Well, in today's world, if you call Irvine Shade and Door, they're going to refer you to RV Blind Company, and they will specifically refer you to Miss Jacqueline Mosley. If you'd like a phone number, it is area code 602-321-9965. She is your source now for getting the parts that you're going to need to replace the springs. When you do that, you're going to be asked to fill out a form that asks little things like your name, phone number, email address, your shipping address, the year, model, make of your coach, and the 6-digit tag number. Well, that was a new one for me. And then it's also going to ask you to show the measurements of your blind. That's been a common thing before. I had not had to do this 6-digit number the last time. But if you are doing this, on this top rail, right? See if we can get it where you can see. There. That's the number that it's talking about. Now, exactly why all these other things are necessary, I would almost bet you that number is what drives what you're going to need. In preparing for this video, I went back to the Irvine Shade and Door site to look at some of the videos that they had on how to work with repairing the shade. And I found it interesting that when you get into how to adjust the spring on this, of all things, the video I did 3 years ago is part of their instructional package now. Pretty interesting. Anyhow, with today's work, what I plan to do, or what I have done, is I've already taken the valance off of the wall. I've already taken the shade down. These are the things that if you've not dealt with this, that you'll see in the first video. Then I've received the replacement. Something that in the first package that I'd received, I had back 3 years ago from Irvine Shade, I had received two different spring sets. One I'd ordered for one of the smaller windows, and then one for this window. And so here's what we're talking about. Now, I'm not sure at this point, but what I may find when I open this is that there's actually a smaller spring in this shade. It just hits me that back when I did it before, that I was surprised that it was a smaller spring that was in the shade, and so I replaced it with a matching spring. Maybe that's why I'm replacing this today. I'll open it up here in a little bit and we'll take a look at it. The first thing it will do is we'll remove the roller from the holder. Don't know that that's the official name. To do that, there's a little screw right here and one that looks a lot like it on the other end. So we'll unscrew these to open it up. Something I'll tell you to do to just keep your eye on is, as you're working, it's easy to get turned around as to what's the front and what's the back of the shade. And for what we're doing here, this is the way that it should go against the window here. As you're facing that blind, on the left-hand side, this is where the spring goes. So we'll take this out and replace the spring. On the other side, you have a little dilly like this. This controls the stop, so that as wherever you want, if you want this much shade down or if you want more down, this is what controls how much of that occurs. So what we're going to do right now, we'll take off the spring side first. Once this screw is loose, then pull this little black end out of the holder here. It'll just pull straight out. Hard to tell exactly where I'm. So this just pulls out. All right, as I pull that, you can see where this is pulling out of the frame now. And then also down here, this is the spring that happens to be coming with it. Now, when you do this, if you've got tension on it, that spring's loaded. So it's gonna go spinning around some. So you need to control that and let it just unwind. And of course I dropped the screw. Okay. And I'm thinking, and I'll know more in a moment, my memory served me better than it normally does. And what I did with this other spring that I didn't use before, I would love to know, because I searched everywhere, couldn't find it. The new spring, when you now order it, you order it through the RV Blind Company, and that price is $32 and about $13 to ship it to you. So it's a $45 deal you got now. But notice, two totally different sizes. Leads me to believe this is what came factory with this blind, that they put the wrong darn spring in it at the factory to begin with, and then I simply followed what they had done when I replaced it. So hopefully the correct spring now will make this thing work right. Now we'll take the spring that should be the correct one and just slide it down in there. Like so. Then the little piece with the dowel that puts the tension on it, we'll slide that back in, and we'll put the clips back into place. Take the screw that holds that clip into place. What I'm gonna do is, for the moment, the stop, I just don't think there's a problem with that. I may find that wrong, but, so I'm gonna try to tighten, I'm gonna tighten this up, put some tension back on the spring and see what we've got. Doing this, I'm turning it clockwise. The Irvine site says roughly 12 turns on it, and then I watched them turn it several more times. When I worked on this before, I ended up putting it in the frame because I was concerned over bending this. And right now, I don't think I'm getting what I'm looking for, so I may yet have to put it back in the frame. If you've not done this before, then again, I'm going to say go back to the first video and watch to see how these parts fit together. But there are two clips that hold this into the valance. And I wish I could tell you I felt real good about this whole thing, but I don't. What I found that works the best is that you place that rail in the part of the clip that doesn't move and then apply pressure and then it snaps in. Well, I found this to be just as aggravating as the first time that I touched it. I'm not getting the results that I had hoped for here. So I'm going to replace the stop on the other end and see if that improves anything. You may notice I'm wearing a different shirt. That's because it's a different day. At the end of the last where I was shooting, I couldn't make it work, and my frustration level had reached a point where I needed to get away from it. So a couple days later, I've actually come back and worked with it a couple different times, failed more than once. So let me see if I can save you some aggravation from what little I've learned here. First of all, and I'm not taking it apart to show, but the tube that you place the spring in has slots that are in it. That's where, if you look there, you can see these little places that stick out here. Well, inside the tube, there's a slot that fits exactly where these go. And of course, where there's not that slot, then there's a bigger slot that's about the size of this space. And some of the ones that I had put in, I had this little piece going into the bigger hole, which I can tell you, that's not what you need to do. Now, this is the old spring that I'd taken out, but the part that goes in first, this has to feed in through that little slot. Then a little further up, this has to feed in through those little slots. And in the very end, these have to feed in through those little slots. If you do this on both sides, you'll find your life is simpler. Yeah, stop. went back up. I'd say that's pretty close to fix. Pretty close. And the reason I say pretty close is the side that is supposed to set the stop to where it stops at whatever point, I've still not gotten that part to work correctly. And guess what? I'm good with what I've got. Maybe this video will save you some time and effort and help you to get this done. The biggest thing that I'm going to tell you to bring with you to get this done is a whole bunch of patience. Between this video, the past video, and any other video that you can find, maybe you'll be able to get this done with a lot less aggravation. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you out.